Hey, I'm Ari from the Tech Buyers Guru, and I'm back with another product review here on the channel today. Now, what we actually have on the bench is Corsair's new Virtuoso RGB wireless SE gaming headset. Now, if you are familiar with the channel and a regular visitor, you've probably noticed that this is the second Corsair headset in a pretty short while. In fact, very recently I reviewed this, the Void RGB Elite wireless headset. Now, the Void line was a lineup that actually was released back in 2016 and has been updated a couple of times since then. So this is just basically the most recent iteration of the Void lineup. But the Void lineup is really Corsair's mainstream, kind of value-focused gaming headset line. And so at $100, this is actually the best Void headset that Corsair offers. But $100 is a pretty kind of mid-range price point. So I think what Corsair had in mind was, look, the headset market has kind of exploded over the past couple of years. I mean, with everybody listening to streaming audio and audio on the go, people have wanted better and better headsets that also look better and better. And the gaming headsets that we've had for the past few years have been kind of gamer oriented. A lot of plastic, maybe they're a little bit heavy, a lot of RGB lights, which is good if you're sitting in front of your computer, but you may not want that when you're, out walking around on the street or on the subway or on a train or on a bus. Corsair is really aiming at kind of a split market here. We've got a lot of gamer brands. Two of my favorite wireless headsets of the past is the Logitech G935, released earlier this year, and the HyperX Cloud Flight, released in 2017. These are both great wireless headsets, but they're really gamer oriented. For PC gamers, and you probably don't want to be wearing them out and about. Well, Corsair knows that where the big money is among people who are spending top dollar for headsets that they're going to be out and about with, that they're going to be seen wearing. It's kind of like having a nice watch or a nice pair of shoes. A headset can say a lot about you, your style and your status and a lot of things, and frankly, that's important to a lot of people. So what Corsair has done is basically really dressed up a gamer-oriented headset, made it look fantastic, and then gone the next mile and actually made it a really great headset underneath the skin. So what we're going to find out in this review is, well, how does this compare? This is actually a $210 headset. How does it compare to the $100 to $150 gamer-oriented headsets out there? The difference is immediately recognizable in the materials Corsair has used with the Virtuoso SE. All metal and leather. A carry case is included to protect that metal finish when you slip it into your suitcase or backpack. Then we take a look at the accessory bundle. It's all custom made for the Virtuoso SE to match the fit and finish. The microphone is metal. It has knurled grips and chamfered edges for a classy sheen. No plastic here. The USB wireless receiver has the same knurled grip to match that style. The USB Type-C cable also has that knurled grip. The charging end is Type-C, so that's great for all you people who have modern smartphones using Type-C. The 3.5 millimeter cable matches as well with that same knurled style. So nothing's off the shelf here. The microphone attaches to the headset with a custom adapter. Easily repositionable. The on-off switch is actually a wireless and wired switch. That's a little confusing. So now in wireless mode, you can see it's lighting up. The RGB effects are subtle and attractive. The microphone has a built-in on-off switch, so you can see it shines red when it's off and green when it's on. So you can always know if you're live. Speaking of the microphone, let's move on to microphone quality tests. So this is a test of the HyperX Cloud Flight, so you can be the judge of how this sounds. Let's now move on to the Logitech G935. And this is a test of the Logitech G935. I reviewed this back in February 2019. It has been my favorite headset up to this point. Not particularly because of the microphone quality, but just because it has a lot of features. This is a test of the Corsair Void Elite RGB wireless built-in microphone. I really like this microphone because it has what they call side tone, so I can hear myself through my headset. And this is a test of the Corsair Virtuoso SE's built-in 9mm microphone. You can be the judge of whether or not this microphone sounds better than the others I've sampled in this review. Being a Corsair product, it's of course compatible with Corsair's IQ software. Here you can see how I turn stereo on and off,
mic on,
microphone on, and then side tone, which is your mic monitor. I like to dial in just a little bit of mic monitor so I can hear myself through the headset. Then taking a look at the lighting effects. You know, you're a little bit limited in that you just have those two lights on either side, and they're not that bright. So I found that some of the effects just weren't that useful, like rainbow or rain and some of these others. I just didn't think they were that interesting with just one light on either side of the headset. So instead I went with color shift, which made the most of the single color on each headset and just shifting between two different colors. You can of course also adjust the brightness to save battery power. Now then we look at the EQ presets. I found the best was actually movie theater. Bass boost made it pretty boomy. You might like that. Clear chat made it quite thin. That would not be for gaming. Of course, FPS is there, and then pure direct is just your flat equalizer. So what do I think of the Virtuoso SE? I think it's a great first attempt at an ultra premium headset from Corsair. It's a far cry from the Void Elite RGB that I recently tested, which looked like a gaming headset. This looks like super audiophile grade. In fact, I think it looks better than most audiophile grade headsets. The all-metal construction, the chamfered edges that give it a gleam like a jewel, the classy RGB implementation that shines through the caps on each of the ear cups. It's really one of a kind in terms of aesthetics. Then we get into comfort. It's actually quite comfortable. It's fairly heavy. It came out at 389 grams with the microphone attached. On my scale, that makes it the heaviest gaming headset I've ever tested. But Corsair has put that weight to good use. Of course, it's all metal, so it's going to be heavier than the plastic headsets that most gaming manufacturers are putting out these days. If you want metal, you're going to pay for that in terms of weight. But that means everything is solid as a rock. The hinges don't squeak. The headband feels very, very secure. And when it's on your head, you feel that. You feel the mass, but you also feel the security of a headset that isn't moving, it isn't pivoting, isn't creaking while you're moving around. Another thing going in its favor is that the ear cups are fairly narrow. Some headsets, like the Logitech G935, have really, really wide ear cups. And you feel that as you move your head around during gaming, there's that inertia that's further away from the center of gravity of your own head. And that means you kind of feel that swinging around far from your ears. Well, this sits a lot closer to your head. I really like that quite a bit. Now, one odd thing about the Virtuoso SE is it's completely symmetrical. Sometimes I'd pick it up and I wouldn't know which was the left and which was the right ear cup. Now, perhaps what's most important is the sound. And in that regard, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. I thought musically, it wasn't quite up to par. I didn't love its musicality. It felt a little compressed. Even though it had specs to beat other gaming headsets, I just didn't think it sounded as musical as other gaming headsets I've tried. It just didn't have the soundstage. It felt a little thin. In gaming, however, it sounded great, particularly when running in stereo rather than in surround. I thought its surround implementation was a little bit weak. I found that true of the Void Elite as well. I don't know that Corsair has licensed any proprietary surround implementation or codec, and whatever they're using isn't top-notch. It's not DTS or Dolby level quality. Now, in terms of stereo, though, it was fantastic. The drumbeat of machine guns in Battlefield 5 sounded much deeper and much more realistic than even the Logitech G935, which I like a lot. And even though I didn't love the surround implementation, I still got a really good sense of the surroundings in a game because of the realism of the sound coming through the ear cups. In terms of the microphone quality, I was let down a little bit only because I thought Corsair's Void Elite was so good, and that was only a $100 headset. This has a big mic, but it's a little bit too boomy. I thought it was too boomy for voice. It's not tuned correctly for the human voice. And so, while it looked nice, it wasn't my favorite feature of this headset. Now, there were 3 usability issues I experienced while testing this headset that I'm going to go over before I give you my final score. The first is the battery gauge. All you get is a small blinking light on the bottom of the ear cup. It's green for good, yellow for getting low, and red for near dead. Well, I'd like a lot more precision than that. And unlike its competitor Logitech, Corsair has not implemented a battery gauge in its IQ software suite. I think they must have some technical limitation on transmitting battery information to the software. I hope they can get over that eventually and implement a battery gauge where you can say, hey, I'm at 87% or I'm at 50% or I'm at 23%, so you don't get caught unawares that your battery is about to die. The second issue I had was I did have disconnects of the headset when I woke my computer from sleep. I often had to pull the USB receiver out of the PC and plug it back in for the headset to be recognized by the PC. I never had disconnects while using it, but I did have that disconnect problem a number of times when waking the system up from sleep. Now, the third issue I had was kind of a design issue. It has to do with the placement of the USB port on the back of this headset. If you want to use this wired, for instance, to experience the highest bitrate sound, the USB cord has to be used. And the problem is it actually faces the back. And so when you put it on, the cord tends to strike your neck or shoulder. It would be a whole lot better if that cord came out straight or forward out of the headset, like just about every other wired headset out there. So clearly this was kind of an add-on and meant primarily for charging. And although you can listen to music at a higher bit rate using a USB connection, it's going to be pretty uncomfortable having that cord constantly hitting you on the side of your neck or shoulder. I think that's probably something they just missed in the design of it when they originally intended that to be basically a charging port. So I thought long and hard about the score I was going to give this headset. When I first took it out of the box and looked at the accessories and looked at the beautiful styling, I was thinking, hey, this is going to be perfect. But ultimately, during testing, I found that the audio quality was only average for a high-end headset. It wasn't above average. It matched the $100 to $150 headsets I've tried, but it didn't exceed it. The microphone quality was a little bit disappointing given the size of the microphone. And I also thought, like I said, that there were some usability issues. It showed that Corsair has some fine-tuning to do. So, given that this is a $210 headset, Corsair is asking a very premium price for it, I have to judge it on its merits. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. I think Corsair has done a lot to raise the bar when it comes to styling, but they've got a little bit of fine-tuning to do to perfect their audio quality and the overall experience of using the Virtuoso. Here's hoping that in the next version they get it right and it's a perfect headset. Until then, I'm Ari from the Tech Buyers Guru. If you like this review, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.